Hey guys, Pebble back with another video, and today I want to talk about Shadowlands and specifically the animations of Shadow Priest inside the new expansion. We really haven't gotten much at all, and I kind of wanted to bring this up just because people have been asking me about the animations or maybe putting better glyphs back into the game, and I think it's time to talk about it. I know Shadowlands is still close, but figured why not? We can talk about it. It's a fun thing. So let's get started. Okay, so first off, let's talk about baseline animations. So we don't have a whole lot just because a lot of our spells there's not much to telegraph, so I don't totally blame them for that. I think there are some things they could do a little bit better. Mainly, the two big points I think I have are kind of recycling some older stuff. So the first one is that back inside of Legion and BFA, we actually had void tendrils that spawned outside from our character, like actually from our limbs and stuff, and that those actually got in more intense the longer you stayed in void form. I don't know if that's like just been removed or because void form is just 15 seconds. I just don't think we're in void form long enough to even get them to spawn. So just testing right now on beta, if you just sit in void form, nothing happens, right? You stay the exact same way. Your character does, float. Like that animation part is cool, but losing those tendrils is pretty sad. So I think like one small thing they could do is just maybe change the scale. That way, like you start with void form, okay, you just enter, you don't get any tendrils, but by the time you finish void form, whether it's 15 seconds or maybe 20 seconds, like at that cap, if you're using hungering void, you get more and more tendrils that spawn from your character. I think this would be pretty sweet. Like it's already in the game, it's just not being used anymore. So that would be a kind of a quick hit thing I think they should do. And honestly, it'd make me really happy because I really missed that part of the form. The other thing I'd like to see them get added is Devouring Plague like doesn't have an animation at all, at least from what I can tell. Like the target reacts to you hitting them, but like that's it. There's no like plaguey dot that's on it or anything like that. And like I vaguely remember playing it back in WoD when that was a spell. I don't really recall an animation there, but I don't know, it can just do something, anything, like maybe just a purple like kind of smoky thing or plague looking thing radiating out from the target like a disease like some of the unholy spells have. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have something on there because right now it just doesn't do anything, and it's one of the spells that we cast the most, right? In that kind of builder spender, we're casting Devouring Plague all the time, so it'd be cool if that actually had a cool animation to go along with it. But and other than that, I can't really think of too many other like base spell changes because, like I said, we do float in void form, which is cool. I think Mind Flay and Mind Seer still look pretty decent. More than they're okay. Mind Blast is kind of meh, but I don't really know what else you could do with that, right? I mean, it puts like a little circle on the targets close to their head, I guess, which makes sense. But outside of that, I mean, I think if they just tackle those two things, I think it'd be pretty sweet from like a baseline perspective. Okay, and this is where I think it gets a lot more fun. So they've kind of ignored glyphs, or at least it kind of looks like they've ignored glyphs for the past couple expansions. There's actually some cool ones in Legion that dropped for a few classes and specs, but I think we kind of missed that a little bit. So I would love for them to kind of bring back some of these kind of more, I guess specialized form of like appearance changes for the Shadow Priest. So let's go over some ideas here. I asked some folks on Patreon and folks that I knew of like what they were interested in or what sounded cool, and this is kind of what we came up with. So the first one is a glyph to bring back Devouring Plague and its ravens. I think this used to be like when you consumed a Shadow Orb, you spawned like shadowy ravens around your character. They did remove this once Shadow Orbs went away and brought it as like a toy in Legion, I believe. So you can see that in the background now. I mean, the toy is neat, but you actually can't keep it up 100% of the time, so it kind of feels bad. So now that we have Devouring Plague back, it's not Shadow Wars, but it's still kind of the same builder spender. I think they should bring this back as either an optional glyph or something else like that to give people that want the ravens back into the rotation. I mean, the spell animation is obviously still there. It's in the toy, so putting it back as a glyph seems like a pretty cool thing to add, in my opinion. Next up, I actually had this idea of talking to people, and I was kind of joking about, what something they could do to covenants to make them feel more meaningful or fun. And the first thing I thought of actually was like, wait, what if they change the hue of shadow form? And I know this isn't going to be for everyone, but I think it'd be really, really cool. Even if it's like a subtle color hue change of, each of the four covenants has like a color, right? So Venthyr is red, Night Fae is blue, Necrolord is green, and Kyrian is like a lighter blue, or maybe golden, maybe. What if that actual hue changed on your shadow form or void form itself, right? So if you were a Venthyr Shadow Priest, you had like this red hue around your shadow form or void form, or maybe it actually went full thematic and you actually changed into like a vampire-esque version of shadow form that's kind of like focused on blood or something. I don't know. I just feel like having shadow form based things based on your covenant, I feel like that would just be amazingly awesome and probably better than any like covenant spell they could give us. So I don't know. I think it'd be pretty neat to come back as a glyph. That way you can change that if you want, but who knows. One thing, I mean, I don't personally care about this too much, but I know a ton of you guys really dislike the way shadow form looks. I think a lot of you guys are fine with void form, but now we're spending, 70-80% of our time in shadow form. You're starting to realize that, wait a second, shadow form doesn't look that great, or like you can't see your transmog very well through it. Shadow form is distinctly like smokier compared to void form, so a lot of people want something that's a bit more toned back. They do have a glyph that kind of does this, but I don't think that's exactly what people are looking for. So kind of curious how you guys feel, but I think this would be kind of an easy one to give kind of a more subtle version of shadow form, maybe closer to what we had like in like vanilla or BC maybe. I'm not quite sure. What are you guys looking for? I know the big one is a lot of people want to show their transmogs off, which is kind of hard when there's this giant smoke around all of your character, but we'll see. And the last one I want to talk about, this actually kind of already exists for Discipline Priest. It's like Dark Archangel, where you get those kind of priestly wings on a cooldown. So obviously Shadow doesn't have that spell available to them, but I think bringing this back would be really, really sweet. Maybe as a glyph or something else like that, where dark wings spawn out of your character, maybe while power infusion is active, maybe tie it to that, or maybe just tie it to base shadow form instead. This could also kind of be a two birds with one stone thing. You could take this glyph, and maybe that glyph, instead of you being in shadow form with like the smoky hue, you just get the Dark Archangel wings instead, but then you still see your base transmog. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Like that might kind of help out a lot of characters of how they want to actually look. But I don't know. I think the wings idea would be pretty cool anyway, whether or not it's with shadow form or not, or if it's tied to power infusion or shadow form or void form. I think the idea just sounds super fun and interesting. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What kind of animations would you like to see added in the Shadow Priest, or glyph ideas that you have? I don't know if they're ever going to add any of these, but I kind of want to just make this because I think it's fun, and I love the way that Shadow works in general. So any way to make it better, I think is really fun for me. So, and again, before we head out, guys, big thank you to all the Patreons that are supporting me in making these videos. It's been a crazy, hectic season going into Shadowlands, going into pre-patch with all the week ores I'm making, the guide that I'm writing. There's a lot of fun updates coming soon. Hope you guys are enjoying these videos more, that I'm interacting with you guys more, and it's kind of bringing stuff that you guys want to see. So again, big thanks to all those people that are supporting me. I could not dedicate the same amount of time that I am right now as if it wasn't for them. So thank you so much, guys. And again, thanks to all of you guys just for watching and supporting the channel. Anyways, this is just a big support to me that I love that you guys love what I'm doing. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.